This tutorial video, what we're going to look at is a little bit different type of inlay. We're looking at a stepped inlay. Yesterday's or the last video we did was just taking a material, a thinner material, and inlaying it to a thicker material. So we just did a pocket into it. In this case, we're going to look at doing both the male and the female parts, the male stepped inlay and the female pocket. So a stepped inlay is basically when we're going to take something, a letter, word, number, whatever our object is, and part of it's going to push through our material with a background that's going to butt up against it to be able to attach it to our back material. So I'm going to do an inlay here, a female and a male inlay with 2016. Now the first thing I need to do is I'm going to select that. I'm going to go up to Transform Objects, set Object Size, and I want to make this about 4 inches tall, so I'm just going to double the size that I have right now. Or when I actually had set that up, I could have set that as 4-inch letters to begin with, but I just had brought that in from a different file. I'm going to drag that up in here a little ways, then I'm going to push and hold Shift to Control, click and drag. Now drag up an exact copy of my item, in this case 2016, and it keeps it in line, which is good. Okay, I'm going to close here, and now I can go right to my tool paths. So I go up to 2D View Control and to the Switch to Tool Paths tab, and brings up my tool paths. And again, I'm going to use the top one here as my male inlay. So I'm going to go to Male Inlay Insert, Stepped. And that brings up our menu here. And it's very similar to what we saw with the pocket, the female cuts yesterday, but there is a new section right here that we're going to deal with. Okay, my start depth is the top of my material, 0. My cut depth is 0.5, and I should really check really quick just to make sure that my material size is correct. Yep, 0.5 is my thickness. Otherwise, I want it cut all the way through. And my tool, I have selected an 1/8 inch end mill for this one, mainly because my letters are still kind of narrow and small, and I want to make sure the tool will fit inside that pocket. It's really a good idea to make sure you're using the same tool for your profile cuts for the male inlay and your pocket cuts for the female one. Otherwise it might not line up exactly. You won't get the same curvature. The inlay tools are basically taking into account what the tool radius is in order to round off and to make the things fit. Okay, I'm going to go with a depth here. Now the step depth is how far it is from the top of the material to the top of the step that goes behind it. So let's say I want to have an 1/8 inch left. Okay, I can say what's a half minus an 1/8, and how it tells me how deep I have to go, which is 3/8. Or I could go Z minus 0.125 equals, and I'll calculate my value as well. So you can have the program will calculate the value for you, or else you can just calculate that on your own and type it in. A step width, I'm going to go a step width of 0.15, just a bit of a step here so it will catch good on the back of my material. And right now I'm not going to worry about tabs or ramps or any of the other tooling that goes along with those settings. We're just working on the calculation part of how to get the step and the inlay to go. And I click Calculate. Okay, and if I reset Preview and preview all tool paths, what it will show me is what's going to cut out. You can see how around the number there's this little outside edge here. That's my step that will set against my material in the back side. And the 2 and the 0, these parts here are parts that will come out of the material, stick through the hole. Okay, so that's our male inlay. So I go back to my font or my 2D view, and I'm going to select my bottom one. I'm going to do the female cut in. And I'm doing this both in the same material. Generally, you're probably not going to do it in the same material. It would be 2 different materials that you're going to be working with, but just for the video, it kind of makes it a little easier to show you doing it both at the same time. So 2016, we're going to inlay again, and this time we're going to do a hole because we had to have a hole for the letters to come out. And it's same thing again, the hole, start depth 0, cut depth 0.5. I want to use the same tool, a 0.125 inch tool. And the next thing we just have to kind of go down to check on is my pocket allowance. in this case it's the allowance offset. I want to make that be like in the other video. We want to make sure there's enough of a room here that it will fit through. If it's the same exact width, it's the same size as the other one, it's going to be very tough to have the letters come through. So we're going to give it a little bit of an allowance here. Let's make it 0.03. Just give that a try. 0.02, 0.04, 0.05, any value in there probably will work out okay. And we'll be able to check that so you see how that works here in a second too. And I'm going to calculate that again. And then I'm going to reset the preview, and I'm going to preview the selected toolpath. And if I click on the material in the middle, which is our waste material, that's what would be coming out. And then we're left with that. We can see the hole that we would have left for our numbers to come out of. Okay, now what we can look at then too is I can reset preview and preview all toolpaths. And if I have clicked on show 2D preview and solid, when I go back to my 2D view, and when I highlight this, you can see these are the toolpaths. This is what the tool path is going to do. The blue area around the values is where our profile cut's going. You can see some areas where it's kind of going to miss a little bit, where it has to round off based on what the tools where it can't get in. And that is automatically being accounted for in our pocket cut. Now in our pocket cut, if I zoom in a little bit with the 0.3, you can see how it goes outside the line, the vector line. That's our allowance. That's giving us that little bit more room for our letters to stick through from, and so it'll actually fit and not be real tight. Okay, so that's what we've taken a look at. We have our male and our female pockets done for a stepped inlay.